Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
All right, if you're a federal contractor, you know that navigating the rules of engagement can be, well, let's just say it can be stressful. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest sources of that stress, the SAM.gov registration requirement, and more importantly, how a brand new rule is finally bringing some much-needed clarity to the whole process. So let me just ask you this. Could a simple, momentary lapse in your company's paperwork, maybe for a totally routine update, actually cost you a multi-million-dollar federal contract? It sounds crazy, right? But for years, the answer was a frustrating and very loud yes. This created a super high-stakes, nerve-wracking problem for countless businesses just trying to work with the government. And the source of all this anxiety? It was something we can call the continuous registration trap. Honestly, this was the villain of our story, an old, confusing, and frankly punishing interpretation of the SAM.gov rule that created a total minefield for even the most careful contractors out there. The official term was continuous registration, and the way it was interpreted was incredibly strict. It meant you had to be actively registered in SAM.gov without any gaps at all. Not for a single day, not for an hour, from the second you hit submit on your proposal all the way through to the final award. Think about that. A brief lapse to update your banking info or maybe change a point of contact, that could be enough to get you completely disqualified, just like that. So how do we even get into this mess? Well, the whole thing started back in September 2018 with a well-intentioned but really problematic amendment to the Federal Acquisition Regulation, the FAR. The wording itself, that registration shall continue until time of award, created a huge problem. Then, rulings from the GAO and the Court of Federal Claims, in big cases like TLS Joint Venture and Meridian, basically cemented this strict continuous interpretation, and that's what created the trap. It really wasn't until late 2024 that an interim rule started to address the chaos, with the final fix finally becoming effective in August of 2025. But here's the good news. A solution has finally arrived. The Federal Acquisition Regulatory Council, the FAR Council, has issued a final rule that just cuts through all of that confusion and gives contractors a clear, predictable path forward. And here's the difference in a nutshell. The old way demanded this perfect, unbroken chain of active registration. The new way, it's all about two specific points in time. This is a massive shift. It means that routine business updates that cause a temporary lapse in your SAM registration between those 2 points are no longer an automatic reason to get kicked out of the running. That is a huge relief. Okay, so let's get specific. What are these 2 moments that really matter in this new process? This right here is the absolute core of the new rule. The new process really just boils down to 2 critical moments. First, point number 1, submission. Your company has to be actively registered in SAM.gov at the exact moment you submit your offer. Then, point number 2, award. You also have to be actively registered at the moment the contract is officially awarded to you. The key takeaway, the real game changer, is that compliance is no longer about that entire stressful period in between. It's now laser focused on just these 2 specific milestones. So who does this help the most? I mean, all contractors benefit, but this is a total game changer for fast-moving companies. Think about small businesses or tech firms that are constantly changing, or companies with a lot of M&A activity, or even just routine banking updates. Under the old rule, these completely normal business activities could totally derail a competitive bid. This new clarity just removes that unnecessary risk. But, and this is really important, we need to understand a key distinction here. While the process is definitely simpler, the standard itself is by no means softer. The requirements haven't vanished, they've just become much more focused. This really sums it up perfectly. The new standard is simpler, not softer. The rule gives you clarity on timing, but that requirement to be registered at those 2 specific points, submission and award, is now absolute. It's non-negotiable. There's no gray area anymore. You're either registered at those moments or you're not. So what are the practical steps you can take to make sure you stay compliant? First, you've got to proactively monitor your SAM expiration dates. Don't let them sneak up on you. Second, coordinate any major corporate changes, like a merger or a bank switch, so they don't happen to fall on a submission or an expected award date. Third, and this is crucial, document your SAM.gov status at both of those key points. Seriously, take a screenshot, save a PDF, create a record for yourself. And finally, consistently make sure all of your representations in SAM are accurate. That part is just as important as it ever was. Ultimately, the big takeaway is this. The government has removed a significant and probably unintended barrier to entry. This rule change restores a sense of predictability to the whole federal procurement process, and that lets companies focus on what really matters, delivering great proposals, not fearing some administrative tripwire. And that leaves us with one last thought. Now that the risk of getting disqualified because of a minor SAM.gov lapse has been dramatically reduced, where can you and your team refocus all that time, that energy, and that compliance effort? Because that is focus you can now put back into winning your next contract.
Thanks for watching. I'm Nancy, your AI avatar. If you like this podcast, you can get one for yourself based on a website, YouTube video, or any source. Contact me to get a customized quote for your content. See you soon.